And all the challenges that I went through in life, how did I survive?
Hi Primers, welcome to Primer Pod, your Primer Insider. This is your inside look on all Primer happenings. So for today, I'd like to introduce myself. I'm Christina Dianco of the HR department, and we have a very special guest. And her name is very, very cool. So we have Champ Castillo.
Hi everyone!
So Champ,
Good
we're
afternoon.
very
Yeah.
intrigued because your name is very unique. Saan nanggaling yung Champ ng pangalan?
It was actually a nickname that I got when I was in college. Kasi sa engineering group of the guys, they actually asked me to play bowling with them. And I told them, sorry, I don't know how to play bowling. And they said, no, come on, we'll teach you. And then they taught me how to play. And they ended up beating all the guys sa game of bowling.
Wow.
So it ended up, they gave me the nickname Champ.
As a champion.
Yes. And then, that una lang, isang tao lang ang calling me by that name. And then later on, everybody from the engineering department na ended up calling me Champ.
So engineering po pala kayo?
Yes. I finished industrial engineering sa Lasal. Back then, 4 lang kami na babae na class. That's why the guys actually, lagi ako niyayaya to play sports with them. Ganyan.
When you mentioned that you were from LaSalle, what were the other activities that you were doing aside from like joining them in these activities?
When I was in Lasal, I'm also part of the DLSU Choral.
Wow! So you sing, Miss Champ?
Yes. And then
Baka pwedeng sample naman. Later.
And at the same time, kasi I mix my academics with extracurricular activities. So I do the De La Salle University Choral, and at the same time, I joined the Harlequin Theater Guild.
So you do stage plays?
Yes,
Theater,
when I was
okay.
like back in
So
Lasal.
acting and singing, tapos engineer.
Yes. Kasi pinagsasabay ko lagi studies and extracurricular, para hindi boring life.
So boring. Boring.
Ayun.
Okay. How about in terms of your childhood naman po? I mean, how was your childhood? Did you spend it here in Manila, in the province?
No, I actually lived sa Lipa City. So my high school is sa Lipa City. Up until I was 16, I was based in Lipa City. And it was a really sheltered life kasi syempre nasa Lipa City lang. Hindi ako masyado exposed to the chaos of Manila. And then when I turned 17 because of college, I moved to Manila, and then I lived sa dormitory here near LaSalle. So since 17 actually, I've been doing independent living ako. Like I'm away from my parents, ganyan na. Kasi nga because of college, yeah. Then, how did I spend my youth before?
Yes.
I've always been involved in arts and sports. In arts in terms of like Glee Club in high school and also in theater in high school. And then participated in sports. All my summers then are always filled with activities. Whether I'll go to the farm to help my grandfather do farming. Or go to, like, I have sports. I played basically basketball, volleyball, badminton, all types of sports I have done during the summers. And at the same time, I would join some community theater or community activities. So I've always been busy during summers nung when I was a kid.
You know, that's a very good parang sharing, because I feel like a lot of people right now, they always say that they can't manage their time. Pero for people like you who can like do projects perfectly, you know, but you were able to manage it and like do sports, CSR activities, and even act and sing. So sobrang galing naman.
Yeah.
Paano mo naman manage yung time mo dun, Champ?
It's just like actually setting priorities. What I found kasi when I was studying, it's not good if it's always academics. It's always nice to balance it off with something. Para hindi masyadong, serious and toxic.
Yeah.
So I always like mix it up. Yan. And then you can ganito lang yan eh. If you really wanted to do it, you'll be able to find time, di ba? Ngayon, kung talagang ayaw mo, you'll find excuses.
Yeah.
Yun lang yun.
You know, I also share the same mantra na if you want to do something, want to achieve it, you give time to it. And then also prioritize that. Something cool naman that I would like to ask you about is that people always feel like you can handle like a lot of projects. But do you get tired?
Yes.
And how do you manage that stress and being tired? Kasi feeling ko parang never kang napagod.
No, I of course everyone gets tired. Like lahat naman human, you get tired. But how do I get by?
How?
Most of the time I would joke around, kid around. But some people who doesn't
it
know
shows.
me, there's some people who doesn't know me, pag minsan siguro hindi na alam that I'm just kidding. Right? Because sometimes I would just make use of my voice. I play around, I kid around with the staff. I would make sounds or something. Yun yung mga pinagtitripan ko minsan eh. Yeah. Mahilip lang minsan ako mag-tripping sa sa staff na pabiro yon.
Okay. How about
Nakala nila galit ako, pero
Oo nga
hindi.
eh. So, when you work with people, syempre in the office there's a lot of like generations, young ones and more mature ones. How do you find the younger generation at work?
How do I find the young generation at work? I actually have no difficulty working with the younger ones. I'm able to relate with them eh.
How do you adjust to them?
I don't, for me kasi I never had experienced generation gap. Whether it's somebody older than me, whether it's the boomers or the Gen Xers, or going down to the millennials, to the Z. Because I am able to adjust to whichever age bracket. Like
What is
from
the first thing
Huh?
that you adjust? Is it the manner of talking?
No.
Or you treat them in milk tea, you know?
Actually, no. Regardless of age, even if the person is just a kid, 5
Yeah.
years old, my manner of speaking is actually the same.
This very strong
Like,
voice.
yes.
Marami natatakot sa voice mo eh.
But I'm saying, I do not adjust the way that I speak, the way that I talk, or the way that I present myself, regardless of the age bracket. And I don't know, but I never had a problem working with different kinds of generation. Because I can adjust to them. Like, nasasabayan ko sila. Halimbawa, kung nausay yung mga, dati may mga lingwahe na biglang, ano ba yan? Ng mga woke generation.
Yeah, woke.
Mga ganyan. Yung mga, dati pa, sa US kasi may mga word.
Yeah.
Yung mga ganun, yung mga lingo of that
Yes.
generation, I am able to adapt.
Because you've been to the US for how long? And then what was your career back then? Siyempre people would want to know, like, it's a progressive country, first world. How were you able to adjust to that?
I actually went to the US in 1998 and I stayed there for 15 years.
Wow.
Yeah. It's actually when I went there, it's not really planned. It was like at that age, back in 1998, I just felt like I wanted to do something that would challenge myself. Like, my question back then is, if I start from nothing, from zero, with not knowing anybody, with no family, no friends, no work, will I be able to make it? That was a question in my head when I was 27.
Oh.
So all I did was then decided without any plan to, with $5,000 and a luggage, go to the US. And at the time, I only know one person, which is a friend from of mine back in college. So the only thing that I've asked is, can he let me live with him for about 6 months? Of course, free rent. And then they asked me what to do, what I'll do. I'll just figure it out when I get there. And it just worked out that within that 6 months, I was able to find a job. Actually, that the company that would sponsor even my work visa at the time. So I just got
Very
lucky, actually. Yeah. And from then on, I stayed for about 15 years, and I was with brands like Kappa, Puma, Crocs, yun.
Yeah.
And then I was doing brand management and product management with them during those times.
Was that something that you consider the most memorable time of your career? Working in the US or working with big brands?
Yes, actually, because when I went in the US, most of the time, I'm the only immigrant within the group and the only female in a male-dominated field.
A Filipina.
Yeah. So it was memorable because I've actually learned a lot and at the same time survive in an environment that is totally new to me. And most of the time, it's like I'm the only woman among all men. Because I was doing then a sports performance category. Yeah, and it took me to a lot of travels because most of the principals are based in Europe. Yeah,
So from the US to Europe,
yeah,
travel.
most of the
I
time.
think that's the benefit of
Yeah.
being a brand person. No? So, one very cool question that I would like to share with you after that career sharing, because I think a lot of ka-primers right now would learn now with just the right challenges. Just parang face challenges with parang game face on, right?
Yeah.
So just focus on your goals, like what you're saying, and even in a very difficult environment, focus on your goals and thrive there. I'd like to know, do you also go on vacations?
Yes.
Parang hindi, parang puro theater and sports, parang wala naman masyadong pahinga.
No, I do take break. Actually, in my career, I took sabbatical breaks.
Oh, sige, and
Yeah.
what was the nicest place you've been to? Surprise me. Para mainggit ako.
It's not probably the nicest, but I would just say one of the most memorable is the one in Cambodia.
Cambodia, why?
Yeah.
Can you share that?
Because most of the time when I travel, I really immerse myself on the culture of the locals. Like, basically live their life for about a week, right? And I just found kasi at that time, ka-open lang ng Cambodia.
Yeah.
Di ba? It's been closed for a long time. So, nung nag-open up sila for tourists, it was kind of exciting with me. And then, the different temples that I've been with. And then, of course, the guide now, it's with me. Yan. So, that one was most of the memorable.
Your Cambodia trip. So with all the challenges that you've been to and all the stories that you've shared, it will be inspiring for a lot of people. But what is one message that you've learned along the way from the US, the Philippines, and back? And even your stint in Indonesia, di ba, in Malaysia.
Yeah. Okay, looking back, from since I was young up until now, I've always just been myself. Regardless of where I go, regardless of people I meet, and regardless of which country I go to. And I guess because being authentic and being yourself had actually helped me course through all the challenges in life, because I stayed as I am wherever I go. The principles in life or the values in life that I have learned from my parents since I was young, I didn't divert from it, right? All those good principles. So as long as you actually stay true to yourself, to your beliefs, to your principio in life, then you would always survive and always get through all the challenges in life, right? You don't waver. And then at the same time, when there's really something that you need to do, you actually really go for it. Whatever the sacrifices need to be done, just because it's something that you need in your life, then you go through with it. And then at the time is when you actually feel alive. Yun lang yun.
That's a very good lesson. So we must be driven and yet always go back to your core. Right? You always go back to your values. And for sure, a lot of ka-primers were inspired by everything that you've shared, your challenges, and the tips that even I myself would need to practice in facing challenges. But for sure, a lot of them are waiting for you to sing.
Then normally, I would just sing, who will buy this wonderful morning? I'm so high, I swear I could fly. Yun, pang magandang umaga.
Diba? For sure, a lot of our ka-primers enjoy this episode. Thank you again, Champ Castillo, for decorating this place and also answering our questions. Again, I'm Christina. Thank you. Bye.
Bye, guys.
Bye.